connected until downstairs housekeeper came up to me and said, "Hello, I hear you're our speaker today." He was my principal at Manchester High School when I taught, so I assume that none of you will rush the stage and threaten me with anything.
I can't speak for Don, but the rest of us will be fine.
There's the first person out of line speaking.
But
At least that's what we heard.
now this is a barn that was on the Gunther farm. It has been taken down because it was too dangerous for anybody to go into. And that's unfortunate, but from the time we started the process until we were able to buy the property, it took quite a while. And here's the Tolland County Agriculture Center with a different sign out front. Now, Tolland County Agricultural Center became what it is today because there was a fire in the town of Rockville. And it burned both the Extension Service and the Farm Bureau. The Farm Bureau used to support the Extension Service, and now it is supported by the University of Connecticut, and it's part of the College of Ag. And this is part of the fire that took place. I can remember my dad getting a call about this. It was not something that was especially a happy time. They were able to buy this piece of property, and one of the first buildings that was erected was this building here. It wasn't finished quite the way it is today, but it was one of the first buildings that took place. Now, some of the early fundraisers, we had the Beanhole Bean Festival, and some of you remember coming to them. It was always a wonderful idea, and it was challenging to bring up the pots of beans because you never knew if they were spoiled or if they worked out just fine. And fortunately, most times they worked out just fine. This is a line of people. You can tell they didn't have the media things that we have today because obviously there wouldn't have been this larger crowd if we were able to do some of the things that we can today. So this was the line of people waiting to be served beans at the Beanhole Festival. The ladies made the brown bread, and it was served with baked beans. Some other things that they did in order to provide money for the agricultural center were farm machinery auctions, animal auctions. Sometimes they were 4-H calves or calves that were able to be put up for auction, and these were some of the things that were done. In later years, we had the antique show and flea markets, and Bob Fluckinger, who is right there, was instrumental in getting this done. Today, one of the current fundraisers is the boat, car, and trailer storage. If you, in a few weeks, we're going to fill the barns with boats and trailers and cars, and this is just some of the people. Once they got the gold building up, then they broke ground for the office building, and that's, you can see that some of these cars are very old, pictures were very old, and you can get a better sense of what's going on if you look at some of the displays that are out on the tables. Wesley Buyula was instrumental in helping. He was a 4-H leader with the Horse Project, and he was very instrumental in getting some of the horse rings put up, which the 4-Hers painted. The nature area is something that is down there yet. It isn't used quite the way it was. We had somebody who presented or who did programs with the school-age kids, but nowadays it has not happened. The Red Barn, which you will see if you take the walk, was given to the Tolland County Agricultural Center when the Ellington Vernon Farmers Exchange sold its earnings to the Agway of Ellington. Here's some of the board members and some of the people who were involved with it. It was sold to the Cooper Schmidt family, and by doing this, we have been able to raise the Red Barn, which is half of it is used for storage. Well, it's all used for storage, but half of it is a place where the sheep and the goats are for the 4-H fair, and half of it is for the show ring, which they use. In order to make it easier for the kids to change and stuff like that, they built the outside lavatories, and these were used by other groups that came in and used the grounds. The white building was started out as an open-air pavilion because it got so hot in the green barn. It was sided and put together so that it would be one building that could be used year-round. And the last building that we put up was the pig barn, which now has some major issues, but they're going to look into whether they're going to fix it or replace it. And this was some of the people who worked on the pig barn. It's Jerry Stewart, probably his dad. And then the last building that was put up was the Holden Pavilion, which you will see if you go outside. It's an open-air pavilion which can replace a tent that used to be for the 4-H fair. The Landscape Management Committee worked to put this labyrinth up, and these are some of the gardens that they presented and did for the Tolland County Agricultural Center. Now, the Tolland County Agricultural Center is very different from UConn and from NCCD. That's the important thing to remember, that this center is strictly done to provide a place for NCCD, the Northeast Conservation District, and the UConn Extension. And TAC became home to the Tolland County 4-H Fair. When we first started out, we used to tie animals along the hedgerow over there. It wasn't very pretty. And up until we bought this property, the fair would circulate between the Stafford Speedway, the Vernon Congregational Church, and several other places. And this is Diane Seifert and my sister Judy, and oh, I can't think of it, it's Luganville, I know that's his last name. But he was a 4-H helper during the summer. And the 4-Hers meet here in or over in the office building. And these were some of the 4-H exhibits. They had the garden, which is still there. It's had several names, but it is still, and these were some of the exhibits. The Homemaker of the Year, some of the dairy exhibits, the horse show, and of course the Olympics, which the egg toss is always a popular event because the eggs don't always last. And sometimes they're just too much. And here's the yoke of oxen with one of the oxen lying down. A variety of events that occur here. We've had the Boy Scout Jamboree, not recently, but we've had it in the past. We have had, it was just this past weekend, the Irish Setter Show. We've had NCCD Plant Sale and Education Series. And we have had the Connecticut Sheep and Wool Festival and the Connecticut High School Envirothon. which is always an important piece to their education. And then when we were thinking about buying the Gunther property, CLCC, which is the Creative Living Community of Connecticut, was interested in helping us, but they didn't have the funding. But they did have a grant to get a greenhouse, but they had no place to put it. So of course TAC said, why not here? And it's been here forever since. So, and one of the big things that helped us get the Gunther property was Chuck Mayer set out to make us a 501c3, and that was really important to us. Now, Hideaway Stables is the green barn that you saw in the beginning, and Frederick Gunther was the original owner of that. This is one of the barns that was on the property. There have been 3 different barns built there because it's built on an aquifer. Of course, at that time, they had no clue what an aquifer was, or that there was one underneath it. But they started out as a dairy farm, and then Edith and Charles Gunther became the owners. Charles Gunther died in the barn when he was struck by, or either he was struck by lightning or a cow landed on him while he was milking the cow. And fortunately, Edith continued on with the farm, and she gave it to her son Russell, who had a small milk business in this barn. Now the barn has been taken down as well as the silo, but they were beautiful when they were new. This is a large portion of the pasture area, which we have now been able to loan out to new and beginning farmers. And these are some of the people that were looking at the property, and this is the pathway down, if you go down by the brook. And this is, you see where the property line comes here. So you can see the horse show rings, you can see some of the buildings that were taken with this photograph, but not all of them. Okay, so some of them have become newer and have been added to this. But it's important to remember that the Tolland County Agricultural Center is separate from UConn and the Extension Service and NCCD. They pay TAC a rental money each month so that they can have their offices in our main building, which is right there. Okay? So part of this land was sold off to the bank. Of course, at that point it was called Rockville Bank, maybe. And they built, that helped pay off the mortgage on the land that TAC bought. But it's been a wonderful thing that TAC has been able to do. As I said, when we first started the 4-H fair, it was the dairy and the beef came on one day and were tied along this hedgerow. The sheep and the goats came on another day and were penned along this hedgerow. And they were shown in this area right here. But it's been a long time, and it's been something that has been wonderful, and we've now joined as one, which is even better for us. So if I can entertain any questions, I'd be glad to do that. Yes.
So the UConn people have offices?
Yes.
What do they do in the offices there? Do you know anything about
Well, they have the 4-H extension. They also have the food corps. They also have the master gardeners in there. Okay. So they
So do they actually give the Master Gardener classes up in?
Sometimes, every other year, they do them right here in this building, yeah. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Sierakowski.
The area to the right, is that, as far as the bottom of the picture, is that all the farm?
No,
The Gunther farm,
No,
or does it
no.
end somewhere up there?
no, it goes way over here.
Oh, so it's bigger.
Yes, it is. It's much bigger than this picture shows. This picture was taken, I think, mainly to show TAC, and they got some of the Gunther farm in it. I think if you look at some of the pictures around here, you will see that it is a large thing. Yes, sir.
There's going to be a walk after the walk?
Yes,
So can you use the map to show us where the walk is going?
maybe Kathy can.
So we're gonna go from our building here, which is up front, we're just gonna go down past the rings. And we're gonna go down to the brook and just come back as a straight, but we'll talk about everything that's up through there, because that's quite a bit of a hike across that hayfield, so you're just gonna come down and come back up as kind of a straight line, stay on the trail, the easiest of our trails.
Yes,
So it's an easy walk?
Yes.
So I have two questions. First, does the TAC, did it ever have any relationship with the Grange, where the Historical Society is now?
no.
No, never did. Okay. Secondly, could you appraise the size of the agricultural community that supports and takes advantage of this facility from the 1960s when the building was built down to now? I'm assuming that the agricultural community shrank. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're very right. The agricultural community, well, if you go over to the office building, you will see that the homemakers had a, downstairs in the meeting room, they have a table that is used for demonstrations. But we haven't used that to its full capacity lately, okay? Now, when we first started TAC, it was a very different kind of agricultural community. We had people like Luther Stearns from Mansfield and the Porters from Hebron, and you know, all these people came together to put TAC together. Now, of course, it's much different, and it's not so much an agricultural community, but we do still provide some of the programs that are helpful, okay? Can I help you any, can I answer anything more?
So just one follow-up. The 4-H program, has that gotten bigger or smaller?
The 4-H program has probably shrunk a little bit, but I think it's regaining traction again. And I think that you will see that I think it's more city-oriented than it was in the past, okay? But not that we don't have agriculture out here at the 4-H fair. We have sheep, we have goats, we have llamas, we have beef animals, we have some dairy, but not like, the dairy and beef are not like it used to be, okay? Yes?
Are you tied to the program at Rockville High?
No, we aren't. Okay, other questions? Yes?
Becky, one little interesting tidbit. In the 60s, the selective service system rented office space there.
Right,
And that was there during the Vietnam War.
right.
And they used to have buses that would come and pick up the draftees in the parking lot here. This is where they left from.
Okay. I know the selective service used to be here, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the buses as
That's
they
right.
picked them up.
Is that building we can see through the window part of it?
No, that's a whole different part of that's not us. Okay? Okay, other questions? Okay, so really, we have become one. We have taken in the Gunther farm. It is now, part of it is provided, the house and the land is provided for grow farms to plant some flowers. And we also have the big field out here, which is used for a hay field. Patrick Hewton runs that, so we've been very fortunate that everything has been used. Okay, other questions? Yes.
How many acres do you have altogether?
Probably about 40 to 50 acres.
Oh, you're jealous.
Okay, this was, I think about 22 acres, and I think that was about 23 or 24 acres, so it's somewhere in the 45 to 50 acre plot. Okay? Okay. Other questions? Please look at some of the pictures and some of the things that are put on display, because they certainly provide a better or a more fulfilled picture of what TAC really is. Okay.
We'll do a walk in about 15. We'll leave from here and we'll go down at 3 o'clock. If that works for everyone, you guys can walk around and kind of look at everything. Thank you very much. So it's gonna, no, we're talking about next week. Our winter storage starts next weekend. So TAC originally purchased the whole property from the town. So this was the town farm property originally. And to pay off the mortgage, so what Becky didn't talk about too much, I think in more of a humble fashion, is her father was one of the 7 farmers that mortgaged their own farms to purchase this property. So when it came time to pay off the mortgage on this property, we were able to sell off the piece that the bank is sitting on, and that paid off the mortgage for the rest of the property. So we own the land free here. So we work with a lot of different organizations. I know we were talking about the North Central Conservation District. They have a spot in our office, and we have Master Gardeners. They help out a lot. One thing is the CLCC group, who also has a farm now up in Coventry. So they work with special needs individuals, and they come down here and they have this greenhouse as well as their own farm on the property. I think it's been a really great relationship between the two of us. They also work in conjunction with the 4-H club, who is working on that garden. If we can take a little pop around the garden so you guys can see it. It's been kind of dead for a couple of years, and the 4-H club came back this year after COVID and completely renovated the whole garden, so it's definitely worth a quick pop around to look at. So the 4-H club this year, they brought this garden back up, and they were selling flowers for their own fundraising to put money back into the garden. They also took a lot of their vegetables that they'd had and donated to Cornerstone. So they were just trying to go right back into the community so they can recycle the project and keep going. And then this barn was donated by Frank Niederhofer, which was Becky's father. So we have a stone up there memorializing that. And then we have our rings down here. So, we have a beaver that's been hanging out, so we've had some flooding issues. So we're not going to go down there because there's a lot of water. And then all the way straight up is the house that was Gunther's home, and we do rent that out to a beginning farmer. That is Marc-Andre Giroux. He has a flower CSA that he does. You can see the little sign out front. Yep. And he's been there 2 years now. He rents the house, and he rents an acre of land, does cut flowers out of there. That's for his beginning farmership. And then Patrick Hedden, who Becky had mentioned, is our beginner farmer that comes out of Hebron and comes and hays this property for his beef cattle out of there. That is our pig barn. Yes, that is. I don't like to talk about it. We're in the middle of, the building got put up, it was put up in 1980, and it is a traditional pole-style shed with a poured concrete floor, and where this building is sitting, we think was where the old trash pile for the bean pot dinner was. And the floor has not been so kind over the years, so the foundation has not done well. So we've decided the barn is fine as it is right now, but it's not what we want and what we really need for the future of agriculture here. So the decision has been made to take her down and replace, and that's why we'll start to see a lot of our fundraising events, because we're trying to fundraise to be able to do a match grant to replace. So agriculture has changed, in the last 50 years, let alone the last 20 years. So the hog numbers in the county, especially with projects aren't as big as they used to be. That building is a pig barn. It has individual stalls for pens so that the hogs can be in. It doesn't give the kids a lot of flexibility to be able to approach a STEM project or their tractor projects or other things that might be able to use that barn to show off during the fair or other things. So the idea is to take it down, redo it as a swing barn so they can put whatever they need to in there. So we're working with them in conjunction to raise enough money for it. We're just starting, scratching the surface, and hopefully we'll be able to fundraise enough in the next year or so to do a match grant to replace. Don't mind the signs. We haven't had any sightings since spring. So.
Yes, he said don't worry about it.
But over the bridge and down through, there's some vernal ponds back there. So there's a lot of natural resource activities that kind of happen through here as well. So besides the trails, that's why the Envirothon happens here. But there's a lot of, wooded pieces, and they can kind of see all different types of soil qualities and things like that. So, but the bridge was built. It's actually the back of an old trailer. Some farmers got pretty crafty, and there's the brook that goes down through there. We have some resident beavers that have been hanging out, so she's not looking her finest as far as the stream goes, but we are working on that.
So we can go on the bridge?
Sure, come on the bridge. Yeah. Thanks to our furry friends.
It's just coming down the hill.
Yeah, well this is usually I've seen this water up there. The rain this year and
Not about a month.
So only one human being.
Oh, you're the one. I'm gonna want to do it on that.
Like that's probably why.
Or maintenance.